time for our first partner keynote. And for this, I would like you to welcome once more Mr. M. Dhananjayan, MD Focus Group India and the Middle East. He will speak about the hidden treasure organizational focus. Over to you, Mr. Dhananjayan. Please do switch on your mic and video.
So, good morning, all, and really happy to be talking on different aspects. The hidden treasure is something really very important thing which has been missed at many times. Uh, if there is no enthusiasm and energy, you can't really find the hidden treasure. And this is also applicable for a lot of organization as well. So I start my keynote on the hidden pressure and how you can really maximize the efficiency of the people and also the finding the right path and the tools that could lead to you. This is one of my favorite thing is Arthasya Moolam Rajyam. So this is primarily from the chapter 1.3 from Chanakya on management. It clearly says basis of resources kingdom. So resources here means it means people, it means finance, it means infrastructure, it means alliances. So primarily in Chanakya, there is 7 layers of organization, which they call it as Swami, which is the CEO. Second, we have Amatya, which is the second level of the organization heads or the vice presidents and things. The third is Janpat, which is the customer. And the fourth is Post, which is finance. Durg is infrastructure. And Dan is executive. And Mitra is alliances. So if you look at all the people are having one or the other role to play, and customer is at the center of organizational focus. So we all know about the modern management, Peter Drucker. So he said the purpose of business is to create and keep a customer. The profit center is the customer. So every one of us always talk about cost saving. Everyone talk about the top line and the bottom line and increase of revenues and things. But fundamentally, it's very, very important to keep one stakeholder all the time happy, and he is the driver of any good organization development. The best of the best organizations, this key pillar is most important, which could really make a difference. So, a few years back, I attended the Landmark Group's chairman's speech, and he had a scenario where his dealership was completely brought down due to violence in Gujarat. And the next day morning, you could see his employees standing there. And then now you all know that Landmark is a very big organization with almost 80 plus outlets. So to have the profit center, you need customers, and to have customers, you need employees. So our thing we clearly say is to all our clients and all our engagements and all our tools that we develop is to keep your customer with you. You need to keep your employees happy. So I'm sure many of you know about these business excellence framework. One is investors in people, IIP, they call it as. And this clearly talks about how people management, how change management, and how sustenance of continuous learning has to be looked into. The second excellence framework is TQM, which is Total Quality Management. I have been part of the TQM process in my early years for the company that I work, Maruti Suzuki, for the vendors to get Deming Award. As in Deming Award, it also clearly plays the importance of policies and strategies, people, partnership, and also the key results of the business. And one of those important key results that is being looked at is people results. So people satisfaction, people willing to continue with the organization and contribute. If you really need accountability and responsibility, total people management of TQM has to be deployed. The third business excellence framework that I have personally seen and also been part of is European Foundation for Quality Management, which is called EFQM. I'm sure Amin and many of the Middle East partners would really understand about EFQM being very successfully deployed across many organizations in the Middle East. So EFQM, they call it from their local models as Dubai Quality Awards and stuff. So focus on these frameworks would really bring in more effectiveness and also more productivity and efficiency in the organization. So I thought I'll just touch upon IIP framework because mostly in the Indian context it is not much used, but the terminologies or the process or the methods can be entirely different. But this gives a nine-step clear mechanisms how one should lead and inspire people from the top. And leading by example is one important thing one has to really look at. Values and behaviors defines the sustainability of the organization, and people's culture also get evolved out of the values that the organization sets. It is also clearly said about empowerment. So, because it's not just only the word or anything, empowerment is a big need, and empowerment really brings in a lot of efficiency into the organization. So once there's a leading process and enabling framework which has been put in place, it's also important to give the correct supporting mechanism in place, which clearly talks about performance, which talks about rewards, and which also talks about how the working structure is being defined. So, like the organization levels, clear SOPs, the clear directions, and a clear game plan to what needs to be achieved in terms of developing an high performance teams. So continuous learning is also a very key element in which you need to really look at capability building for the organization, because in the changing times you need a lot of skill sets which either the skill sets can be built within the organization or needs to be looked outside. And continuous improvement process, basically in 2009 we have developed something called continual improvement subgroup in the Middle East. Today it's almost 10 years old forum, which clearly talks about and brings in people together from different professionals and keep continuously learning and challenging each other by adapting kaizens, by adapting small group activities, by also having innovation challenges in place. And the last is, while we are talking about leading, supporting, and improving, it is very important to have a sustainable process, and also you need to have a continuation of what has been done. So, a succession planning and also a continuity of the activity should be a framework as part of your organization. So now, in order to achieve all these things, you need to really look at your employees and creating happy employees as many different enablers. And one of the hidden pressure, I generally look at hidden pressure in many ways. So hidden pressure is what all of us are in search of. And I take you through a small story. I'm sure many of us would have really looked at these stories or would have used these stories to motivate our kids, or create a process of working hard and looking to create a kind of a wealth that could be good for the future. The story goes like this: there was a farmer and he had four sons, and the farmer used to work hard and create a lot of wealth, but the sons would not really work hard or listen to his instructions. And finally one day this guy gets sick, and he dies, and the four sons started listening to his dad at the end of the deathbed. He said, guys, I have put a hidden treasure in the field, and all your segregation of your lands and other things could be got only when you guys go into the land field and start working on. And then finally these guys take steps, and then they start working on by a different way, and they're just plowing the land, but they could not get. There was a passerby, and then this guy asked him, "What you guys are doing?" So then they said the story, and then the passerby, gave them a process which really then started evolving to become more greenery, and then they were also able to get their wealth because the farmer had given the complete wealth and the documents to this guy to make these guys to work through a process. So The stories can be rebuilt. And today's new adult learning is all about storytelling. So even Harvard said if you use the story methods, the learning with the adult is very fast. So storytelling is now the new norm of learning methods in the organization. So we have used this case studies. We have used storytelling as a change element in many of our clients as well. So we have a three steps mechanism from focus to keep your employees happy. One is clearly engage in dialogue. So this also was part of our forum this morning. Dialogue is one important thing which could help us know what are the hurdles, what are the areas, what are the strengths, and what are the areas they could really look on. And once the dialogue is done, it's also very clearly important that you need to create an action-oriented growth plan. So, what does it mean? It means a clear, measurable date, time. What you can't manage, what you can't measure, you can't really manage. So, it is important once you have the dialogue and have created an action plan, you should be able to measure the outcome and communicate to the organization what has been the learnings and what has been the future improvements that they could look while working on it. So now everyone says we need to create a process. Everyone says we need to take care of our employees. So to create a process, first you need to put yourself as a customer and as an employee. So then only the process development or an effective process that can really be laid down. I still remember my initial days of going to a particular process, standing in a circle and observing the process, and then having a lot of dialogues between the stakeholders, and then creating a process. And even after 18 years, I could see those processes still effectively being working across many dealerships across the mass segments. So important thing is you need to really put yourself as a customer, think like a customer, and also look from an employee perspective. What all could be the enabling methods that they will be more accountable and responsible to make your customer happy. People talk about mentorship. Mentorship is not a one way. Mentorship is really a two-way street. It really needs a lot of efforts to handle, coach, and then see the success being celebrated by the change element. So a mentor and a mentee relationship is a very strong relationship, and this would be a lifelong friendship and lifelong learning exercise together. And it's very clear even in a mentorship, it is you can get what you put in. So it is very clear if you put 50% of the efforts, your results is also going to 50%. And in 1999, I used to see a placard in every manager's desk in Maruti. It says serious thinking creates creative solutions. Serious thinking creates creative solutions. Lukewarm thinking leads only to grumbling, and half-hearted thinking leads to complaints and excuses. So, if you really look at why a process cannot really be in place, people come with a lot of excuses. People say this is a problem, that is a problem, and from this placard, you can really say whether serious thinking is being put in place, or is it a lukewarm thinking, or is it an half-hearted thinking. So, you can really see the best process that could evolve is evolved by putting a serious thinking in place, and half-hearted thinking and lukewarm thinking leads to nowhere. How should your process be? Your process should be, like we say, very specific, very measurable, and achievable, realistic, and timely. So all of us know about SMART. It is very, very important that how this could be implemented in a very systematic manner. Why it is very important to be very specific, because that drives the organization towards a purpose. If the objective is not set properly, the results would also be not really that great. Measurable, what as is a very important case, especially even like in terms of weight management as well. You need to measure your weight every day to see that the weight reduces, and or anything that you want to do, whether increase your performance of your teams or improve your productivity or create something or reduce cost. Everything has to be measured. And many a times people have ad hoc goals, and they say that the target can be achieved, but they set a target which is not realistic in perspective, and also it's not a time bomb. So they say within 90 days I will do a major change. Uh, Obviously, the change goes by stages. We say it every 90 days, 120 days, kind of a timeline is a very good timeline. And you should also not select too many activities for the change. The best would be the rule of two and rule of three. Only take two or three things where you're in the position to achieve more. So create small groups, small teams, and then have a very specific objective of one or two, which could really make the change. And even with your process, as the current process, the process on an Excel sheet or the process on a Word form is all going away. It is more towards a very simple video-based content that is getting developed even for the process. So minimize the number of pages. In Japanese, they always say your process should be within one page. So create in such a way that it is very easily understood by even a layman, and also the process should be foolproof. That means the process should understand realistically the risk priority number, which we use in FMEA, RPN, which we call it as, which means you are able to do and simulate what are the occurrence that could happen in a process. You are able to look at what are the detection methods, and you're also looking at severity if something goes wrong. So we call it as RPN, risk priority number, which is based on severity and occurrence and detection. So this SOD is a very, very clear, important thing while you design your process. So that's why they call it as DFMEA. And the second is called as process FMEA, which is called PFMEA. These two clearly helps in setting up the right process, and especially when a product is designed, they do a lot of PPAPs, APQP. PPAP means production process approval, and APQP means advanced product quality planning. And these two methods can be adapted into your process, whatever process it is. And these are the best proven techniques from the auto industry. And even in the IT industry, they have different norms, but the fundamental remains the same. So it is also important to learn to plot your SWOT. So I'm sure many of you know about SWOT, and it is all working together, partnership, alliance, problem solving. These are the keywords that is being extensively used. So SWOT is strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats. So this is a continuous process. It's not a one-time exercise. As currently with COVID, it really is also very important that how do you really look at these processes in place. So what you think as your strength could also be your weakness. So it is very important to look at how do we handle the SWOT, and also have these toolkits, which is like the skill, knowledge, the equipment, the data, because today it's a data-driven economy. Manpower, flexible manpower is in place and more knowledgeable, and the continuous, flexible manpower with the right attitude is very important. And the facility and infrastructure is also very key in order to see your process more successful, because Without these elements and also having focus tools. So I say focus means follow one course until successful. So earlier in the physical working space, people used to do multi-skilling or multitasking. But I think with this virtual world during COVID, it's only one activity at a time, because in the virtual meetings you are focused on a particular topic, and your time and energy is brought in place. So focus is one word, whether it is a success or failure. People always say, I should have focused more or I should have focused less. This is our key solution that we are looking from focus is focus one, and the focus skill is again a rural initiative that we have done, and focus mentor is about continuous learning, and focus digital is about process by technology. So you can see that from a consulting to a digital element is fully covered, so that process by technology is what will be the need of the future. Now, I bring to also the ancient wisdom, because that is giving us a lot of energy and also a lot of directions when it's been applied in the right direction. So this is a four-line, thing from Chanakya, which says the meanings in the next slides. I will tell you guys. Prajasuke sukam ragyaha prajnana cha hite itam Nadma priyam itam rabhyoho prajanam tu priyam itam. So, sorry for my pronunciation on the Sanskrit, but the meaning of these things clearly tells about in the happiness of people lies the happiness of king, and in the welfare of the people is own welfare. What is dear to himself is not beneficial to the king. What is dear to the people is beneficial. That is what the first two lines of the sutra said. And in the happiness of customers lies the happiness of the organization, and in the welfare of the customers, its own welfare. What is dear to the organization is not beneficial to the organization. What is dear to the customers is beneficial. So it clearly tells, not it's not being told by me. It was told by the great Acharya Chanakya, where customers and the people are the two pillars for any sustenance of business. So if these two elements are being missed, it's the equal balance that needs to be given. And every one of us, our jobs, the welfare of the future, everything is all depending upon these two major stakeholders. This we talked in the beginning about importance of customers in Chanakya structure, where I told about the seven structures and how it is being looked at. And customer is the center, and rest of the people and resources evolves. That is why I said the basis of resources is kingdom. If these resources are not available to serve the customer, the organization will never cease to exist. This is one of my favorite slide. So during this COVID times, we also came out with a new initiative, as one of our employees' daughter is now the chief happiness officer. So she brings in a lot of thought process. She brings in happiness. She talks to each of our employees. And for me, the hidden pressure can only come through a very strong dialogue process, because our time being spent at office is more than the time being spent at the family. But COVID, thanks to COVID, that it gave the reset button option, and put everything to a halt, where we were able to do a lot of interactions with the family, spend time with the family. And now it is going the reverse way, where we are longing for the officers to look at. So I see the hidden pressure in every organization, and this two enabling process in Tamil, it's called, one is called Thedal. Thedal means in search of excellence, in search. So primarily, if the organization is not putting the people in search of anything, whether be it process, be it technology, be it the best methods, or be it anything, in search of excellence is the first enabler to achieve the hidden pressure. And There is another important word on the right is action. So in Tamil, it is called Sayal. Sayal is called as action, which is very, very important in order to achieve the excellence in any business, any process, or to achieve the hidden treasure. Action is very, very important. So, in search of excellence, action, if this goes along together, the success is guaranteed. So there is a lot of learnings from the Indian ancient wisdom, and also our own learnings by deploying and helping the clients. If you are able to bring the synergy together in the organization, and also have this three-step dialogue process, creating an action plan, and then measuring the outcome, I am sure you can find the hidden treasure. The treasure is with all the people. The key is by setting a right process. If you use the right process, you can open the box and the beautiful innovation will come in place, accountability will come in place, responsibility will come in place. We all try to have customer retention and employee attrition to be less. Believe me, if these two things are being put in place, we could see a very big success, and the success is guaranteed, and there is no looking back on anything else. Thank you very much, Anuj and World Auto Forum, and also the rest of the leaders for being part of the patients listening and putting the process, technology, and the passion behind the process and technology. We could really make and bring a big change. We have a lot of knowledge and wisdom from our ancient Artha Shastra. Artha means wealth, Shastra means method. It is all about wealth creation, and that's what is needed for all of us. Thank you, and a happy journey on the wealth creation. Thank you, Anuj.
Thanks a ton. Thanks a ton, DJ. Really appreciate. And it's very nice to know how you have connected our ancient wisdom to the modern management practices, and that it has always been there, in our culture for centuries and centuries. And we just need to rediscover ourselves, our culture, our heritage. And I'm sure this would go for all the ancient civilizations and cultures across the world. And that's the commonality, that's the common thread we need to discover, harness, and action. Thanks a ton, DJ. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it. Over to you, Anita ji.
Thank you once more, Mr. Dhananjayan. And that was such a wonderful blend of our ancient culture and how we can apply it today. So, as a small token of our appreciation, please do accept this memento.